Hey, mental health warriors. I want to thank everybody for joining in. Apologize for my voice. Caught the COVID coming back out of California, so I'm recovering from that. Symptoms been pretty mild to moderate, so just like with everybody else out there, no big deal. Had a great trip out to California supporting VTT and the Ultimate Sacrifice Foundation with Kyle finishing his bike trip going across the United States. I wanted to share some of my experiences that I had out there. Was pretty moving. I met three people and they all had three different stories. And I just really want to talk about it and tell about those stories because you never know what's going on in people's lives. And you never know, with what you're doing, if it's making an impact or not. We like to hope that, everybody here at Veterans Trash Talk and all that we do and are making an impact in people's lives. And come to find out in California, I found out that's absolutely true. So as you can see, back behind me is the Hotel del Coronado. It's been there since I think 1888. 133-year-old hotel, very famous. Took that picture the last night I was there. It was a great time. But really what I want to talk about is, we just wrapped up PTSD Awareness Day, which was Monday. And I hope everybody reached out to a friend or a family member and called them and see how they're doing. We're winding down PTSD Awareness Month. Which is the month of June. We're getting ready to roll into the 4th of July, and 4th of July should be a good, celebration of our independence. Have family and friends over and just really enjoy being in the great country that we're in, that we were able to live in. But I really want to talk about three things that kind of affected me when I was in California. And first of all, I want to say, Kevin, how you doing? Kevin's going to join me.
Doing good, man. Kind of getting used to this background, just playing around with our new toys, I guess is what you could say. Cliff and I are a little bit behind the times when it comes to technology. So what the rest of the world has caught on to, we are newly discovering and sharing the same space. But yeah, unfortunately, I'd have liked to have been there. Those type of events, they're hard work because you are representing Veteran Trash Talk, but they show you the best parts of Veteran Trash Talk, in that when you're sharing the same space as your brothers and sisters, that is the best medicine for veterans. So I totally get why you came away from that event having experienced what you consider to be something profound. So I'm looking forward to what you got to say, man.
That's right. Kevin hasn't heard the stories yet. So I fly out on Thursday. The event's not till Saturday. I fly out on Thursday, but every time I fly, or usually when I go out in public, I'm wearing the mental health warrior. Get it in front of here. The Veteran Trash Talk mental health warrior T-shirt. Which, oh, by the way, you can't order now on Veteran Trash Talk. Go out to our shop on our website. All of our merch is out there. You can use the promo code CB2022 and get 10% off any of your order, just not on the mental health warrior T-shirt. One thing about my T-shirt, I always say that, it's a T-shirt that could save a life because you have the crisis text number on the back. And I got a story about that on the plane ride back. So it's going to be pretty interesting, the three stories. So the first story I want to talk about is, Friday, we're going to meet to set up. I'm going to go to the Marriott. I'm at the Hotel del Coronado, which is about 2 miles away, right on the beach. And my wife was telling me, because she was stationed in San Diego, that I have to try the tacos, or the street tacos, or the beach tacos. Or she said they were the best. The fish tacos are the best, right? And so just down from our hotel, there's a beach hut right there where they sell tacos. And so they open up at 11. So I walk down there and I'm wearing this T-shirt, the Veteran Trash Talk Dumpster Fire T-shirt. And so I walk down there and I'm standing in line, and a young couple is standing behind me, and I go and I turn around to look at the beach, or I don't know what I was doing. And he's like, "Hey, are you on Veterans Trash Talk?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Hey, I'm a fan. I watch that." And so I got to talking with him and his girlfriend. And I said, "Yeah, I'm the mental health warrior." And he's like, "No,
that's awesome."
Yeah, isn't that crazy? And so I was visiting with him, and then I got up and I ordered my taco, and I said, "Hey, what are you guys gonna do? After you get your stuff, I'm gonna run and go to my room real quick and get you something." And what I was doing, I was going to my room to get a T-shirt to give him, the Mental Health Warrior T-shirt.
That's great.
Which you'll see a picture of me and him on the beach. Kevin uploaded it so you guys can see it. And so I go up, I get his t-shirt, I come back, I meet him on the beach, and we're sitting there and we're visiting. And so Matt tells me his story, right? So he was in the Navy, he got out, he had severe PTSD issues, he had issues trying to find the right medication, and all these things. And I just kind of listened to his struggle and how his life is slowly getting better. And of course I told him my story, and we visited on the beach for, I don't know, probably 15, 20 minutes or so before I had to leave because I had to go over to the Marriott. But I was very thankful of him, and I said, hey, do you mind if I take a picture of us together on the beach, because I want to share it on my Instagram, and it is on my Instagram. And he said, yeah, sure. He says, but wait a second. So he wanted to put the t-shirt on. So he put my t-shirt on that I give one to his girlfriend too. And so he put the t-shirt on, and we took a picture of him in the t-shirt. But one thing you notice in the picture, when you look at it, my hair is blowing because Nick always said that I was bald.
No,
So
I am not photoshopping, Cliff. I know you asked me to Photoshop some hair in there, but I'm not doing it, dude. Just not. I can't.
My hair was blowing in the wind. And
yeah, so I decided I can't Photoshop that for you. Sorry.
Yeah. But sorry, but that was a moving story, and I really appreciated him. And of course I invited him to continue to watch our material, and I gave him one of my business cards that had my email address on him, and told him to stay in contact with me. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But it's just, that's why we do what we do, is because there's veterans out there who are struggling, and they're looking for a safe place to talk about. That's why we have our Facebook page, and that's why we do all of our shows on podcasts. And it was just really nice to hear somebody who, I didn't know this person, never seen him before, but he recognized the Veteran Trash Talk t-shirt. He watched the podcast, and he was appreciative of what we did with the podcast, and kind of the mission that Nick and everybody's kind of put together, and why we do what we do. And that's why I do the Mental Health Warrior. And I think it's so important. So we get over there so I leave there and I go to the Marriott, and we're getting set up for the Ultimate Sacrifice Foundation. He goes, that's Kyle rode his bike across the United States, 3,700 miles, and he was finishing on Saturday. And so I got to meet that whole crew and everything, and that was a lot of fun. And the event was great. I don't want to steal their thunder, but you can go out to their Facebook page and kind of follow that. Kyle has agreed to come on to the podcast, so we'll have him on it at some point. I just kind of want him to take the time to, be with his family and stuff right now, and kind of recover from the bike ride. But I'll meet up with him, and we'll get him on the podcast and have him talk about it. I really wanted him to talk about the moment when he was in the desert, when he had the breakdown. He did a video about that on Facebook, but it's a moving tribute. I appreciate what they're doing, what they're trying to do. It's the same thing that we're doing. That's why Veterans Trash Talk teamed up with him. And I just think it's important. The second story I want to talk about, I'm going to do a service announcement here because this kind of irritates me. I grew up, they always thought dignity and respect, right, Kevin? You never know what somebody's going through in their life. You never treat it. I don't give a flying fuck if you've had a bad day or what, but you don't ever take it out on your waitress. No. You don't take it out on your food service people. They're there to, especially coming out of a pandemic when they're short-staffed anyway.
I was going to say, especially in the best of circumstances, under the best service, but especially today, because what's going on is so out of the service workers' control that anybody who takes it out on any type of service worker deserves to be punched in the face.
Oh yeah, I mean,
unless they buy a triggered pansy
right.
On the spot, man. You have a choice.
That's
you can buy a triggered pansy t-shirt, or I'm going to punch you in the face.
Well, why yell at the little female waitress because you well, go out to the supervisor and go talk to the cook about it or something. I don't know. I don't understand why.
It's just not worth it, dude.
Why piss off people that are bringing your food anyway? I don't. Anyway, some people just don't get it. All I would say is be patient. You never know. And when I tell you this story, which is completely heartbreaking, and thank God we decided to go to this restaurant and eat at. So Nick and his family had come over to the Hotel del Coronado, and they decided to stay there last night there. And so we had met up for dinner. And so we were walking out from the hotel, going down to a pizza place. because he had his two girls with him, and they're, I don't know, what, 13 and 10, I think, or something. I don't know what their age are. But anyway, and so we went to the pizza place, but the wait was too long. But on the way there, walking to the pizza place, we passed by a French restaurant. And so while we're standing in line at the pizza place, we all decided, hey, let's go back and eat at the French restaurant, because they wasn't that busy. And so we walked back down the street and to the French restaurant. They had a table for us, and they got all set up and stuff. And the waitress came over, and she was a nice young girl, and she was just very you could tell she was upset. And I said, hey, me, I'm always gonna, if I cue in on somebody not feeling right, I said, hey, are you okay? Is everything all right? And she was very nervous, and she's like, well, I'm sorry, the last table I had, they were very rude and mean to me, and I it wasn't my fault. I did everything, and tried to help them, but they were yelling at me and everything. And I said, okay, well, first of all, time out. I'm sorry you went through that, and that's a horrible, but this is the fun table, because Nick's a lot of fun, his wife's a lot of fun. We're laughing and joking. I said, you have nothing to worry about that here. This is a fun table. And you kind of saw her demeanor change a little bit. And so as she brings her drinks, and we order our different food and this, that, and the other, and I have little conversations with her, she kind of asked, what are you guys doing in town, and blah, blah, blah. So I told her, Veterans Trash Talk here, supporting the foundation, and I'm the mental health warrior. I speak out, because I'm a suicide survivor. Man, as soon as I said that, it cued her in. And so we finish up dinner, and the restaurant's closing by now, because everything in Coronado closes fairly early. And it was a Sunday night. And so Nick and his wife had got up and left the table, and I was there because I was waiting. I don't know why I was waiting on to talk to her or something. I don't know why. But anyway, the girls wanted to go outside. That's right. Anyway, so she came back, and I said, I just wanted to say that, for one, I apologize that you had a rough night. But, two, I don't know. I want to tell you something. I said, I'm a suicide survivor. And, this is what I talk about on my podcast. And I think it's important. And I just want to make sure that you're okay. And what happened to you doesn't reflect, further on down the night. You just need to kind of learn how to shake it off and don't take it personally. And I'm trying not to get emotional, but the girl was in tears. And she said, 3 months ago, I was in the mental ward. She had attempted on her life. And I gave her a hug, and she squeezed me so hard. And she goes, just thank you for, what you do and what you talk about. And I looked at her and I said, thank you for having the strength to continue with what you're doing, but thank you for sharing your story. And I'm not going to go in detail of our story, because we had a conversation there. But then, the other people in the restaurant, the workers, could hear us, because we wasn't quiet about our conversation. And you could just see the emotional impact that our conversation was having on them. And maybe they knew about it, maybe they didn't. I don't know. I don't remember our name. If it was on our name tag, I don't remember. But I gave her the links to the podcast and everything. I wish I would have gone back and given her a t-shirt, but they probably would have been closed by the time I made it back anyway. So, but and I got to thinking about that when I got back to my room, because given the state that she was in her recovery, with whatever she went through that put her in that hospital, those people being so rude and mean to her for whatever their flipping problem was, could have drove her down that road again. Because she was already upset and visibly shaken by whatever went on with that table, that it had affected her. And had we not gone back to that restaurant and we had that conversation, God works in mysterious ways, but that was a very moving experience. But that's, I was telling Nick afterwards, it was Walmart Hotel. I said, I knew something was wrong with her. I mean, I've been doing speaking events for a long time, and I just kind of have that sense when somebody's bothered by something.
Right.
And I really think Nick and his wife went outside, because they probably didn't want the girls to hear the conversation we were having. Not that it was bad, but I mean, just to give us that private moment. So I was telling him the story, and I said, that's what we do at Veterans Trash Talk. We just don't talk to veterans. she could have had a family member in the military. I don't know.
Right.
But everybody's affected by mental health and mental illness in different ways. And that's why I do what I do on the Mental Health Warrior is try to help everybody along with the veteran community, because veterans have children. We have extended family members, and so it's important. And so I tell people that when you go out to these restaurants and you eat, don't be rude to somebody, because you don't know what their past is or what they're going through. And who knows, what that girl's mind was going to be like, because she probably would have continued to dwell on what happened. And what if she had the next day, she had another bad day, another bad customer,
Right.
whatever. But I mean, most of these people on vacation anyway. So who's rude on vacation anyway? What do you, the flip do you have to be anyway? You're at the freaking beach, But
Yeah. People gonna be miserable. No, I mean, they're not behaving any differently than what they behave in Monday through Friday, and
Well, my daddy always said, people act like that because they didn't have their nose poked, so so anyway. So, I get back, to the hotel, whatever, and I think about that. And that, to me, that was a profound experience on that young lady's life. But, there's so many young people out there struggling with mental health and things like that. And it's important to, just take a moment and listen. I just really listened to her and her story. And it's funny because one of the things we talked about is, and she knew I'd been there, because if you've ever been attempted on your life or had issues and you go to a state-run mental ward, you're in a lockdown state. You're most likely only in your hospital gown. It's not the best of situations because they don't want you to hurt yourself. Obviously, they don't know what shape your mind's in. And that's one of the things we talked about was her experience, being in that mental ward. And I talked about my experience because I've been there, and she knew I'd been there. I wasn't making it up because, if, it's like, we talk on VeteranTrashTalk, if you walk the walk, talk the talk, we've all been there. And that's why we gravitate to our communities. And I think, once she learned that I'd actually been there, that, allowed her to open up more. And we continue the conversation. Hopefully we got a new viewer for the Mental Health Warrior on VeteranTrashTalk. So fast forward to Monday, I'm flying home. I have my Mental Health Warrior t-shirt on. I always fly in it because you never know. Human trafficking's a huge problem. It's a massive problem. And I always want, got that text number on the back. So they'll help anybody in crisis or having issues and problems. And so it's kind of funny. So I'm standing in line to get on the airport in San Diego to get on to board the plane. And this short older lady walks up and she's like, "Oh, excuse me." She was trying to get in front of me. She's like, "Oh, have they boarded priority 1 yet?" And I said, "No, ma'am, that wasn't priority 1. We're all in line waiting." So she goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry." So she went to the back of the line. She was very nice.
Right.
And so we get on the plane and I sit down and she's sitting in the seat next to me. And so I just have a conversation with her, and about halfway through the flight, I get up to go to the bathroom. Now she hasn't seen the back of my t-shirt. And so I get up and I go to the bathroom and I come back and I sit down, and she looks at me, and this always how the conversation starts. She goes, "Can I ask you about your t-shirt?" And that's what they always say. "Can I ask you about t-shirt?"
Wow.
Yeah. And I said, "Yeah, sure." And so I tell her, I'm, VeteranTrashTalk. I'm, Mental Health Warrior. I have my podcast on here, what I was doing in California and those kinds of things. And she was actually a lady of the church. She didn't say what diocese she was in. But she had suffered abuse and had PTSD issues and things. And so we had that conversation for the next hour on the flight. She told me her story and her struggles with what she had been through. And it was kind of interesting because if you remember back to when Rachel was on, the life coach, and she talked about, when you have trauma as a child, and this lady did, when you have trauma again as an adult, it makes it more difficult to process and get through that trauma, right? Because you have to go back and fix what happened to you as a child and then go back and fix what happened to an adult. And this was just kind of her story. And it was really interesting, but, and sad and good because, she had recovered. But she told me about her brother. I don't know. I'm assuming her brother was a Vietnam vet, but I'm not too sure. She didn't say. But he suffers from severe PTSD, and this is why his PTSD is so severe. He accidentally killed his best friend in a firefight.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. And so it was, I guess he threw a grenade or something. She didn't go into great detail by it, but he's really, really struggling with that after all these years. And I couldn't imagine, that. And, she was asking me questions, about, what can I do, and this, and to be honest with you, for the first time in my life, I was dumbstruck. I mean, I didn't, how do you say that? I mean, what can you say other than the normal, asking for help, listen to him, all the PTSD issues. And I offered, say, hey, have your brother join our group, the Veterans Trash Talk. We talk about all kinds of things and find a support group that, could help him and talk about and dealing with the guilt and grief that he's had about this. And apparently he found out this later on, I guess during some type of an award ceremony or something was going on, that actually it was his grenade that killed his friend. So I couldn't imagine. No, I couldn't imagine that at all. I mean,
well, then you have the, not only that, those Vietnam era veterans all came, no matter their service, all came home to such horrific abuse by a majority of the public, or a large percentage of the public, the vocal majority, that he was already coming home with unaddressed mental health issues. Then to be told on top of that, yeah, you are a piece of shit, and I bet you this guy's kept that in for decades. I mean, I can't imagine him ever being able to express that without professional help.
Yeah, and a lot of you Vietnam vets didn't. I mean, I don't know how many, when I came out of Iraq, I remember a story. I was at the airport and I was flying back home, and there was 2 Vietnam vets. These brothers were commercial construction builders.
Right.
And they're like, hey, I want to buy you a beer, and I didn't get this, when I came home from Vietnam. And we sat there and I let him buy me a beer. And I said, you know what, I want to buy you a beer, because I'm going to tell you right now, if it wasn't for your service, I wouldn't have never joined the service.
That's right.
I want to thank you and your brother both for your service. And that never should have happened. No, we join to serve our country. We don't join just to serve a political agenda or anything like that. And nobody in the military thinks that way. Anybody who joins the military, we don't think that way. We come all from different backgrounds and all kinds of different things.
Leave it at the door.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and we do, because you never know.
Yeah.
To save your life, or gal's going to save your life one day. And so we don't have those things. But no service member should ever have to go through that when they come home for defending the freedoms and the things that people have in this country that so many take for granted nowadays, because they don't understand hard times, right? Because everything's been too easy for them for so long. But I gave her my card again and told her to thank her brother from me for his service, and hopefully he'll watch the podcast, and maybe he'll watch some of the other podcasts, and maybe he'll learn to, engage with our community and understand what we're doing, and maybe he can find the peace that he's looking for. I hope, one day. We all want that for everybody, to learn how to deal with their issues and problems. But so, Mental Health Warriors, I really wanted to share those 3 stories. I get those stories a lot when I go out and travel, do my speaking events. I don't normally hear the best stories, but those weren't bad stories, but those were moving stories that, were just randomly thrown at me. But I think it's important. That's why I wear the t-shirt, because you just never know what's going to start that conversation. And a lot of times that t-shirt will start that conversation.
Right.
That's why, I had Linda on the show, Diaz, who daughter, completed suicide at 15, and she's the one that came up with the idea of putting the texting number on the back of the t-shirt. That wasn't my idea. That was her idea. And what a great idea. Because that started so many conversations. And sometimes it's just the hardest part is just to start that conversation, right, Kevin?
Oh, for sure.
People are always, you always want to have that in or that easy way to start that conversation, and that really makes it easy. And just like the t-shirts we wear now, you have the quit being a trigger pansy t-shirt on, that always triggers conversations. When I wear that shirt, people get a kick out of it. They laugh about it. They think it's funny. And the same thing with the dumpster fire t-shirt. I mean, it's
all
just
of them. Yeah,
all of them. It's just a it's just a good way to connect to people and connect to the community, and that's why we do what we do.
It is.
But hey, I want to stay everybody out there to appreciate for joining in. I apologize for my voice kind of being off, but I hope by the next one I'll be a little bit better. Please take care of yourself. Enjoy the rest of the week, and go out there and be a mental health warrior, and call that buddy or friend or family member, and make sure everybody's doing okay, and just do the buddy checkup. Oh, well, one more thing. I forgot about this. I'm getting old. So, I'm a big fan of Black Bear Diner, right? It's a big chain out there in California. Well, but anyway, we went out there and they hosted us, and it was really great. Had a lot of the team out there that came, and everybody kind of laughed and joked, and kind of wondering who we are and why we were there. And there's some great photos, and those will be posted up there. But it was, it's great food and great family fun. And it was just really fun to go and do that. And so if you're ever out there, if you come across a Black Bear Diner, I encourage everybody to stop and eat. It's just good home cooking food. It's nothing fancy. But they're really family oriented, and you can read their menus come out on a newspaper, and they always talk about things going on in the community and other stuff. So it's really great. So I just want to give a shout out to them and say thanks for hosting us, and thanks for catering to us a little bit and everything. And we really appreciate it. And all the Veteran Trash Talk people really enjoyed the food and had a good time there. So hats off to Black Bear Diner, and please continue to do what you do, because they do a lot for the community. They do a lot of programs. I text about them and tag them on Instagram all the time with things that they do. And so it's just really great to see a business that's always giving back to the community. They absolutely do. So once again, thanks again, Black Bear Diner. And with that, Mental Health Warriors, I'll for sure sign off this time. You guys have a great week and take care, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.